Okay, here we go.
She's about 15 minutes.
We
Right.
are.
Welcome to the anger management class where we are learning skills for life. It not only works for us, but it also works for our families and for our work environment, for uh anything that life throws at us. And so we're here to help teach these and also facilitate your change so that you can go through life without all those buttons all over, right? No one can, if you don't have the buttons, nobody can push them. Isn't that right, Rita?
Yeah, buttons. Or what's another word that we say? Triggers, right? He triggered me, she triggered me. So buttons. They know how to push my buttons. They're like, oh, how that is interesting. There you are. So we're hosting a grief and loss out of our anger management. So we are processing grief and loss through brain training, through neuroplasticity. So we know that the mind is plastic and it's always changing and evolving, and we can update. So we look forward to updating experiences. And experiences can be held in different ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, even experiences can be even financial, like, it's a belief system, it's a structure, it's an experience, it's a feeling that you get inside. It could be, those experiences could be triggers. So they could be a good experience or a bad experience. If it's a good experience, we call it an anchor, right? So when we process grief and loss, I think some of us don't even know that there's such a thing of process grief and loss. No, you just are sad and angry and mad. And oh yeah, what are the 5 stages of grief? I wrote them down a couple
I did
weeks
too.
ago.
They're upstairs. I know you go through anger and
oh, here it is. So denial. So, and that's because someone way back when, some educated person said, oh, we have 5 stages and angers, and we attach to that belief. And so we believe that that is true. So it could be true to some extent. It could be true to all of you or just some of you. So the 5 stages of grief is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and some even say stage 6 and 7, which I don't know what the 7th one is, but guilt. So when you lose a person, place, or thing, a job, a parent, a child, it is said to believe that you're in denial. Like, no, I can't believe that happened. Like, your brain's all like, no, it's still there. It's okay. So it's part of coping. This is kind of what the personal development world does or even psychiatrists, psychologists, is we have taught people how to cope. Like in our line of work, we're looking about transforming that, like really changing the structure of the connections. When you think of your mom, because you lost your mom, or your mom moved on to the next dimension, depending on the level of belief you have, or a divorce. When you look at that, if you look at that, like there was so many gifts I got out of my mom. I'm so grateful. I'm thankful. She did her time here. She was the most loving she could be. Or even if it's a marriage, my husband gave me 2 kids and gave me an opportunity to develop my children the way I want. I got to be a stay-at-home mom. Like you could look at all those ways and process change like that instead of grief and loss. So one way to do it in our work is we just flip it. It's gratitude and grace. It's gifts and acknowledgement for all the good, the love. So when you look at every situation, you have a choice on how to look. What filters are you looking through? Experiences. Anything you want to add to that, Miss Tammy?
yeah, I can see how, if we see it as a failure, we're looking for someone to blame. We're becoming a victim, right? And we are giving our power to whatever the situation is. And just like sadness and anger and fear are inside of you, and loss is as well. And when I say inside, that means that's like the basis of our work, is that the anger is inside of you, right? It isn't, there's no longer this excuse that you are making me angry and you did this, and anger somehow is, being dumped on us. We know that it's inside of us, and that we know that because we are the ones that have those sensations, right? You don't feel my anger. You feel what you feel when I'm angry at you, but you don't know actually what I'm feeling. And so that's really powerful to acknowledge that. Otherwise, we do become the victim of loss, and the maybe we blame and all of those things, blame someone else for what's going on inside of us. And that is so disempowering. I mean, it can feel, and I want you to look at and observe this as, like, oh, I got angry, and you could observe it and feel bad about it, or you could just notice it and instead decide that you're going to feel differently about it. But we have to have skills for that, right? We got to go and deal with it.
Perfect. Exactly. Your skill set is important. So what do you do? How do you act? How do you react? And a mindset. And the mindset is, how are you doing this to yourself? How are you creating your own misery, your own grief, and your own loss? So it's, what is your structure? Everyone, like Tammy was saying, everyone has a different way of processing things. So create a structure on who do you want to be? Who do you want to be in the matter of, someone passing on, someone moving on, right? Who do you want to be?
I could talk to the victim is who I wanted to be. Like, being a victim meant that, well, I could tell the story about how he did this, this, and this, and then I would have people feel bad for me, and then I would have, community around me, and all these benefits that I got for having this sad story, even though I would tell you to your face, like, don't pity me. I was acting from the victim mindset, which meant he has all the power for how I feel.
Yeah. And I like to break down power a little bit, because sometimes it might be a little bit abstract or woo-woo.
Not for men, but maybe.
Power. I mean, because I'm like, well, how am I giving? Because I didn't get that me being angry at other people, places, and things, that was stealing my power. But it's your energy. It's your attitude. They're stealing your attitude. They're not really stealing it. You're giving it freely, but your behavior, now you're acting different somehow you didn't want. So that's part of the power. Your action, your health. Yeah. So those to me, I can visualize, not that I'm visual, but so I'm giving up something, a part of me. If it's my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts, if it's my actions, my behaviors, my belief system about me, that's what is being given, not really stolen, but given. So
yeah,
power.
and what one another way to look at this, and I'd like you guys to see if this makes sense to you, is that when I wanted to blame him, or feel like I'm the one that's lost everything now, when I was doing that, then I had no ability to change my own inner sensations.
Yeah. Say that again, because this is big.
I can't
say it again.
So so that's what I mean by giving my power, is that if I'm the victim, if I'm saying, this person did this, so I feel this way, and that person did that, so now I have nothing, or I'm nobody, or I'm, the piece of dirt on the floor. then I am letting my feelings, how did I say it? My internal state, I'm allowing that person to, well, I'm doing it to myself, using them in my head. Really.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to myself using pictures and images and sounds from my experience with them. Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm yelling with somebody and I'm in a yelling match and I go home and I'm still having this argument in my head, who is doing that?
Yeah.
Me. After it's over, I'm the one still doing it. And this was really big for me to get when I first started this, because I was like super excited. A lot of people are like, well, that means you're responsible for yourself. And I'm like, finally, I can be, instead of feeling like it's everyone else has to make me feel good.
And that's huge. So when you took complete ownership for what you were doing internally with your circumstances, you felt empowered.
Yeah, because I didn't want to do that anymore. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and argue in my head. It's not even worth it, right?
Right.
So, but before that, I didn't realize that I was doing it. I thought it was real, but it wasn't happening right then. So it wasn't anymore.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Like, so for you guys that are listening, do you feel 100% responsible for what's going on in your life? Like, that's step one. Like, can you, or are you able to take full responsibility for, the kids, the spouse, the children, the adult children, the former boss? Are you able to look at those situations, even like your problems, issues, your pains, your symptoms? Are you able to look at that and be like, your grief and loss on how you're processing that? Are you able to look at that and be like, I'm responsible for that? Now what? Are you like, no, it's not me, it's her. No, it's not me, it's him. Where are you in the, I take complete ownership and responsibility for what's going on internally? 0, not true, or 100% true? You guys can type it in, or you can unmute yourself and
Feel free to talk.
Because Tammy's tired of hearing me talk, and same goes for me.
I used to be that way. I used to blame everybody, it's your fault. It's not my problem, And then it was a combination of this class and my wife saying, you got to take responsibility, and I'm just going, no, I don't want to, I really don't. I was stubborn, but slowly it's coming back. And there's times when I still do it,
Yeah.
It's that you word. We all like that you word, and when you go back and my grandfather had a saying, when you point your finger, 3 fingers are pointing back at you,
Yeah,
So
I never thought that. I was like, how are you blaming me for this?
yeah, exactly.
I'll point like this. No.
So Steve, if you can give me a number, 0, not true, or 100% true, I take complete responsibility, ownership for what's going on with me. Where, if you close your eyes, take a deep breath in and just kind of sense that, like, I know there's a part of you, like, maybe it's the 18-year-old or the 8-year-old that says, why should I take responsibility? Yeah. You're making me feel this way.
Yeah.
I feel like early.
Yeah, I between 6 and 7. I'm not there 100% yet.
Okay. And I just want you to note that, like, there's nothing right or wrong about it, but it's an opportunity to look at, like, where can I step in?
Right. I think it's like you say, changing your mind, or what do you call it? Change your mindset.
Yes. Update it, or,
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Update it. Cause it's like I look at it like a thermostat. We start at, like, 10 degrees, 30 degrees, 50 degrees, until you get to 100 degrees. And not that you're on fire, but you're on fire for taking responsibility for yourself. So that's a good visual for me. Thanks, Steve. What about you, Jeff?
I thought early on in my process, like, I took all the blame, and I still own my stuff, but it's like the longer it goes on, I kind of realized, like, if I don't react, and she still not happy, then it's might not all be me.
You want to know what my husband said to me once? I
Your
said, "What are we gonna-"
husband or your
Oh,
husband?
my husband,
Okay.
Matt. It was Mother's Day, and I'm like, "What are we gonna do for Mother's Day?" And he said, "Be a happy mother." And
Yeah,
I
that
said,
probably didn't go too well.
I did. I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Because at that point, I knew how to be a happy mother. It really is not his responsibility to make me happy. He can contribute when he understands me and knows that, I like this. I like the house this way, or I like the cars this way, or I like meals, or I like flour, or, he can contribute to helping me feel important to him, but he cannot be responsible for my happiness. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So Jeff,
and feeling blame can come because you still have, just like that argument. If I have an argument and then I'm still replaying it in my head, then I'm going to feel a certain way. So if whatever it is that you felt blamed about, those are some images and feelings and sensations, um, sounds
Yeah, I
that.
think early on I would take like 90% of the blame, and then now it's like 65%.
so can you tell the difference between blame and responsibility?
Yeah, maybe this is like a weird realization, but maybe she's responsible, but I was blamed because I would react for what she was responsible for. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes
Thought of that
total
right now.
sense. That's why anger, since we're in our anger management class, that's why anger has worked for such a long time, because we are avoiding something. We're avoiding being dominated, or we are dominating by our anger. So there's levels of where you can take responsibility, because blame is I think the opposite of responsibility. Blame is still a victim mindset versus I take responsibility for my part, for how for even taking, like, how can you take responsibility for blame?
Well, I think more like for me, I'd say I'm not responsible to make her happy, but I was blamed for the irritation or the fights, because if she wasn't happy, it resulted into a fight. So that's her responsibility, but my blame, I guess.
Your responsibility of how you reacted, what you did inside. Because if you didn't react, you didn't get upset, you didn't get angry, and you were just a mirror for her, so she's upset or whatever, you don't respond to that. You observe and you notice and you see the whole process. Something else can show up, right?
Yeah, that's a special skill that I didn't have.
Yeah, that's a
So
skill
Jeff,
set.
is she happy now?
Huh?
Is she happier now?
It doesn't seem like it.
Oh, well, I was going to blame you for that.
Yeah.
Just
Well, it's
kidding.
like,
But really, if you're responsible for her unhappiness, then you're responsible for her happiness too. And if leaving you makes her happy, then you can be responsible for that, which is her being happy. So if our point in having a relationship is to make someone else happy, when they're gone, if they're happy, then we've achieved our goal, right? It's just a little way to look at it, like, okay, how many times was she happy? I can take responsibility for that. Is she happy now? I can take responsibility. If people want to give us responsibility for them.
Question though, what do you do? My wife will say, well, I just want you to be happy.
Then you say, let me go to the bathroom and fix that. I'll be happy in a second. You know what I mean? I need to go outside for a walk and I'll be right back, and I'll, whatever it is that you need
Yeah.
to know yourself.
Right.
What makes you happy?
Right.
Yeah. So then just explain that to her and take the responsibility off her and say, oh, it's not your job, but right now I can see that I need to go for a walk. thanks for
Yeah,
the
see, that's my
reminder.
urge to say, like, it's not your job for whether I'm happy or not, you know?
Right, but
If she
that's
feels it is, I mean,
right. I think in general, women tend to take responsibility for other people's emotions, and we like that role probably a little bit. So I would just take that responsibility back and say, "Oh, you're right. I'm really acting,
Yeah.
frustrated, and I need to go cut down a tree or, walk through a woods or run for a mile,
Exactly.
whatever it is that you enjoy."
right.
Yeah, if you're in New Jersey, you just go out and dance in the rain, come back.
Yeah, if you're in town, I don't know what
Washington do.
you're fun.
It's pouring right now.
Yeah, Steve, I would use those moments when someone's sharing like that. Like, you need to do what that's just a cue for you, like Tammy said, go take care of whatever's happening. Observe. What are your thoughts? What are your sensations? Notice them. Like, where are they at? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Am I not communicating something? Am I avoiding a conversation? Am I,
That's what I do, avoid the conversation.
Yeah. So, go in the bathroom, clean it up, clear it out and come back. A
That
brand
works
new.
too. Clean up, clear it out, clean up. That works for me, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Right. And we can even go deeper and find out, like, where did you learn that avoiding conversations is the way to have a relationship?
Right.
Because that's in your mind, those are the old stories that have a reaction where you continue to act in that pattern.
Yeah. Which is
It's like
probably
flight or it's fight, flight or something else. I don't know what the three are, but that's what my counselor keeps telling me. And I'm trying to avoid those.
And I think we were talking about attachments and being secure in your relationship, that sometimes, like for me, I avoid too. Not anymore, not so much now. Now it's like kind of fun to actually peep out what I want to say and watch, like, oh, that's not a big deal. Because growing up, if you said your truth, if you said what you wanted, there was consequences. And so now you're like, oh, I'll just avoid them because I don't want to make her mad and I might disappoint her. And like, it's all imaginary threat. It's all a perceived threat. It's not even true. So you go clean it up, clear it out, you come back and then just test the water. Oh, you know what was on my mind? It was this, and this, and you said this and I did that. And, no harm, no foul, and just see and observe.
Yeah. And I mean, honor that she wants you to be happy and just say, oh, I can see that, or whatever, like whatever she
Make it a
needs.
positive, what you're saying. Make it a positive instead of a
Right.
negative.
I mean, oh, that's really great. I appreciate you wanting to make me happy. And, I just want you to be assured that it's not your job. And I can see I need to go take care of this right now. I need to go, have time alone or turn on some music, or we need to know ourselves enough to know what we need before we can even have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Knowing ourselves.
And I think that's what this journey is about. So, Jeff, what was your percentage? Thanks, Steve. What was your percentage? I didn't catch your number.
I said early on, I said 90, and then now like 65.
65. Okay. And just notice what's 65 minus 100.
35.
So just notice that 30%, 35% that knows it's not 100%. You take responsibility for your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, your circumstances, and just notice how that is. Write it down, because that's something you can clean up and clear out later.
And I think Jeff is answering the question, how much am I responsible for that relationship, instead of how much am I responsible for my part, for my own inner health or inner happiness. So that might be a different number for you. How responsible are you for your own inner happiness, joy, peace?
I would say probably should be 100, right? So, I think when people are, what's the word for it? But if you're, I don't know, this whole non-reactive thing is a great new stage. And I think men, especially men, are probably super reactive all the time. So I'm trying not to be.
You're trying to be more responsive. So when you don't react, then you allow all parts of your brain to help with negotiating and determining. And when you have a higher skill set and a mindset, then it's easier to flow through those points. And it's not reactive, it's responsive, which means you take responsibility and you analyze. Because when we go straight to anger, fear, avoidance, then we miss something.
Yeah, I think it was Steve said the fight or flight thing. It's like, yeah, that's easy to fall into. I think that's just a trap, though. So
It's
And
definitely
there's a limiting belief.
Yeah.
Or we wouldn't be responsive to it, or we wouldn't be reactive to it if we didn't believe it.
Yeah, if you didn't believe what was being said or what was being, what you're reacting to. Because if someone says, oh, your elbow is orange, you'd be like, oh, okay. You know, but if they said, oh, your ego is out of control, the claws come out, right?
You're
Because
stupid or you're
there's a belief.
hopeless.
Yeah, there's so what Tammy was saying is there's a belief behind why you react. But if you respond, you can, you know, go clean it up, clear it out, and then come back, and then you can notice, okay, what am I doing to believe that's true or not true, or there's some truth that I am responsible for making her happy.
I think you just believe your wife or your husband, or I think you believe their reality.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd
and
be weird not to, right?
Yeah. And I think there's something there to be said about marriages, is that I don't know if it's culturally or if it's just my relationship, but just because you're married doesn't mean that person owns you. And it doesn't mean that person's 100% responsible for your happiness, for your emotions, for your feelings, but somehow I feel like, you know, oh, I got married. It's my husband's responsibility to make me happy. If mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. I hate, I think that puts a big burden on men, that women think that men should be all, end all for their happiness, for their productivity in life, for their everything.
Or the whole happy wife, happy life.
It's
slogan.
a program. It's a program. And we signed, dated it, and sent it and got a certificate that says marriage.
Well, it probably has to do with women typically are more right-brained and emotional. So if they're happy, the guys are just going to go along with it and be like, oh, we must be happy now. Yeah.
Very good.
Typically.
Yeah. All results are not the same. Please do not take offense to this. This is just a conversation. Look, this is really big. Just try it on. Like, just try on the idea, try on the concept. And if you don't like it, just leave it. Take what you like and leave the rest. That's what we ask everyone. When we're speaking, we're not speaking from, well, sometimes we are speaking from 100% truth, but everybody has their truth. You were born, you're here. Your parents had their problems. You picked them up. You create an identity from that, and you start to live your world that way. And then you attract people to help you create that same world. So when do we wake up? When do we make like a conscious choice that, hey, I can drive my own bus, my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own relationship. And our life is a metaphoric expression of what we hold inside. So if we think we're dumb, we're probably going to find the smartest person in the relationship because they're going to help us feel dumb. Or, I mean, you know, whatever your belief is. So anyways, that's a fun rant. Brian, what is your percentage of I take complete ownership, responsibility for my life, my person, my environment? zero not true or 100% true, I am responsible.
Yeah, right now it's 100%. Before you go back to January, February, it was 100% not my fault. Everything is everybody else's fault, and they're making me this way.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on and the months have gone on and the more work I do on things, the more I realize that I take ownership for the things that I've done. I take ownership of the things that I'm doing now, and I can only control me. Whatever other reaction other people have, there's nothing I can do about that. I worry about me and take the ownership and responsibility for things that I do.
And taking
So,
100%
changed.
responsibility for yourself, who are you in the world when that is the case? How are you when in your relationship with your children, knowing that?
Vastly improved. All my relationships have improved tremendously from acting that way and being that way. And the relationship with my kids is better, my parents, my family, my coworkers. It's all vastly improved because I don't blame other people for the way I'm acting anymore. It's my shit. I need to deal with it. And I don't let other people's emotions create reactions within me. If somebody is volatile and out of control, and I would normally just be more, I don't react to that anymore.
And when you said it was 100% their fault, that's the victim mindset. But do
Yeah.
you see how helpless we are against it? The reason it's called a victim is because we're feeling like I can't do anything about how they treat me or how they say this or how they make me feel. Or so whenever we're in that state, it's so disempowering because there's nothing I can do to change it. And that is the worst. Like when I figured this out, I was just like, oh my word, it feels like the whole world opened up to me. Like, are you kidding? I can do this in my own head. Stop feeling like, whatever happens in the world is creating my life. It's so nice to be like, wait, I can manage my inner world, and then these things that other people are doing don't have to be about me and disembowel me. Really. Yeah, it's 100% their fault. You have
Yeah, you're powerless.
You're at their mercy.
You're at their mercy. And in your brain, when your brain believes that, then you sit there in unhealthy relationships. You sit there and your body deteriorates, your brain deteriorates, your spirit deteriorates. And we go into coping mechanisms that create havoc, anger, drugging, drinking, sexing, texting, yoga, like whatever it is that you go to cope.
Anxiety, yeah. All kinds of things.
So good job.
That's a very powerful understanding. And to think that we fight being responsible, because, when someone's blaming us, we fight being responsible so much that we think we don't ever want to be responsible for our own life. We want it to be someone else's fault. And then when we start to take responsibility for our own inner world, things actually improve. Like we can do a pretty good job from in there.
Yeah. Taking responsibility for me, the first time where I actually cried because it was freeing, and I was scared out of my bejesus because I get to be responsible for my happiness. So that meant I had to discover who I am, what I like, because I like things based on what I thought they were gonna because if my mom was happy, I was safe. If my dad was happy, my mom was safe. You know what I mean? So behaviors and learned experiences. I knew if I just did everything for everyone and, placate all the stuff, that life would be good. But then you start shriveling inside, and you start shrinking, and then you're not really expressing who you are because you're afraid that if you say something, they're going to be mad, sad, they're going to leave you. Now I'm like, leave me. It'll be great. I get to do something different. Now it's a different story. It's not, I'm not keeping people, places, and things out of fear. I am allowing it to come in and go and flow. Yeah. So I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid. I don't know the song. Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So something you could do with that is every morning, lunch, dinner, when you have a thought, just notice what happens in your life when you say, I'm 100% responsible. I'm 100% responsible. I choose this pen. I choose this meal. I choose. I'm 100% responsible. Anything comes up to the active experience where it's like, no, this is not your fault. This is blah, blah, blah. Go clean it up, clear it out, come back. I'm 100% until you grieve and lose that fear or belief of how you know you're not 100% responsible for your life. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, before bed, after bed, during bed, the minute you wake up, I'm 100% responsible. There's going to be vitality in your life. You're going to wake up with vigor. Don't you want to wake up with vigor, guys?
Now, where's the balance of you're taking care of yourself and that's affecting other people because they look at it as like you're being selfish because you're taking care of you? That's the challenge now. It's like I want your time, and it's like, okay, I understand, but this is the things in my life that I need to keep my glass full. I can't fill everybody else's glass because then I'm losing all the things that I need to do for myself. And that may come across as being selfish to some people. And I'm learning that now because, it's been almost a year now of this process for me, just here and a bunch of other things. And it's like, I know now the things that I need in my life to keep myself on this track. And I don't want to give that stuff up in order to appease someone else or make somebody else happy because I'm just going to empty my glass again.
Yeah. That's a
And then
really
I'm
good
back in
question.
this cycle again of being miserable because I'm constantly trying to appease and make other people happy. It's not my job.
Yeah.
My job is not to piss them off.
Yeah.
So there's something that people believe about selfishness, which is that if you do stuff for yourself, you're only thinking of yourself. But in actuality, when you think of what you need that fills you up healthfully, right? I'm not talking about like you need more alcohol or something. I'm talking about something that you need that's healthy for you. More nature, more time with your kids, more or a nice long shot. I don't know, like what you know that you need. A book, time alone, time with friends, whatever it is. To get this right, then you actually can overflow from that abundance on the inside. You can only give as much as you have. So if you're keeping yourself full, you'll actually be able to give more. And it is the opposite of selfishness then. The people that we see that are the most generous and kind people in the world know how to do that for themselves first. They can't give you more kindness than they can give themselves. You know why? Because energy, we're made up of energy. And if our energy is lacking kindness, then we're on a different frequency. We can't give kindness when we're feeling sad or bad or mad or angry. But if we are feeling kind, then we can give that because we actually have that in us.
Yeah, I try to, I guess it's similar, but I explain it as, you know, I have to be first in my life to take care of me, to be at my best, because when I'm at my best, everybody gets more out of me. Like, then I can give back. If I'm running around with the empty glass, then all you're going to see is the volatility and the anger and misery.
Yep.
And there's a lot of ways of cleaning that up. So what you have is just a belief system that selfishness is bad. And that's because we were taught that don't be selfish, give that to your brother. Don't be selfish, do what I want. Okay. And I mean, who's being selfish now, really? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't necessarily, I don't believe that it's selfish. I think it's just taking care of myself. I think other individuals are looking at it that I'm being selfish by putting
Yeah,
myself first the whole time.
The look
or
of their
most of the time.
face when they think I'm selfish. The look of their face when they think I'm selfish. The feeling of them thinking I'm selfish. Let it go.
What kind of fish is it and what kind of shell is it?
Yeah, it's a shellfish, not a selfish. Peace. Because what you're doing to yourself is just what I was talking about. You're taking their image or their words and creating a sensation that you're doing something wrong, but you're not.
And there's nothing wrong with being selfish. You got meaning behind that. Everybody has meaning behind that. The narcissist they do not want you to be selfish because it takes away from them.
Uh-oh. You just jumped up a can of worms.
And look, we're all narcissists at one level, right? We all have
And the
some.
more pain we're in, the more of a narcissist we are. That's all a narcissist is somebody reacting from pain. If you felt love and if you felt joy and happiness, how could you be a narcissist?
Yeah.
No, say that again. That was tricky. The narcissist wants.
You're talking to me. Tell Brian to say it. He's the one that.
No, you said the narcissist wants us to be unselfish. Is that right?
Oh yeah, the narcissist, the person who wants your time, your money, your energy, wants you to be available for them. So of course they're going to call us selfish. Like, it's our relationship. Don't you value our relationship? Don't you blah, blah. They can spin it whichever way they want because they want the selfishness to be gone because it takes away from them.
Aren't they the ones being selfish by demanding that?
Yeah, exactly. They don't.
But they're calling. Who's calling the kettle black?
They're making you responsible for their feelings.
For their happiness, to fill their cup.
Yeah, they don't know how to do that for themselves. So we can come at it with a feeling very sorry. I mean, feeling like, gosh, I'm glad that I'm not there anymore and I have an idea how to do that for myself. And, you need to learn how to do that for yourself as well, because it's the only way to true happiness. Anybody that's going to put you in charge of their happiness is always going to ask for more. I did this with my husbands. Like both of them, even the one that it's all his fault. No, but really, they'd make me happy. And then I'd be like, well, that's not good. I wasn't trying to make it better and better, but I wasn't happy. So it didn't matter if they did it perfectly. I'm going to ask for more and ask for more and ask for more because I wasn't happy. So
you need to counsel all of my ex-wives and Jeff's.
I mean, that would be good for them to know. It would be so beneficial for them to be able to take responsibility for their own happiness.
Yeah.
And into relationships and for your children. Are you kidding? Send them to us. We have a course for them. We will put them in it.
Yeah, we have a divorce care program
it's our passion to teach ladies to not give away your power to somebody else. And also for men to not, give away your power to someone else. We're all going to be better off if everyone is responsible for their own happiness. That's the truth. And there's a book called The Course in Miracles, and it says every action and expression is a cry for love, no matter how unskilled it is. And if we look at people like that, then we can just be compassionate with them and say, I can see that you think that I need to be happy in order for you to feel good. And that's their cry for love. That's their way of getting love. Or, yes, you think that I have to spend all my time with you in order to feel loved. I understand that this is your cry for love. But that doesn't mean we don't have to give into it. We just need to
Shed light.
Validate that.
react in a way that, like, wow, here's their cry for love. It's very unskillful. When someone betrays you, when somebody cheats on you, when somebody steals or lies, it's a very unskillful way to get love, but that's what they're trying to get, period. It's human nature.
Well, it's programs. If you had a healthy program, well, it says, instead of going out and cheating, you could be like, okay, what am I avoiding? I need love. I need attention. I need to talk to the partner, the spouse. But if you're afraid to approach that and your unskilled coping is to go cheat, it's just another cry for love and attention, except you're unskilled. So you don't, you don't have the honest
Everybody
conversation.
in the world looked at each other like that. Wouldn't that be a much more beautiful world? Like, how would there be a war if you just realized, like, wow, they're really just unskilled at asking for love? But that's all they want, just like that's all we want when we do unskilled things.
Yes. Because we do unskilled things all the time.
Yeah. I mean, being angry is an unskilled use of trying to manipulate somebody.
Avoiding, manipulating, all that is unskilled.
Forcing.
Coercing.
Does anger really get you love? No, but in the moment, do you think if I make them do this, then I'll finally feel better and feel important and feel loved? Doesn't work.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Right.
Pushes away.
But it's a cry for love. And that's what everyone's doing. They're all the same. We all do it the same exact way. When I get into them, it was so fun, doing our training, wasn't it, Rita? Like, we had to work with hundreds of people in the process of training, and we would get in their minds, and I would be like, they're just like me. I can't
They're
believe
just
it.
like
Like,
me.
I thought I was the only one that had this kind of thought. And then I was like, oh my word, they talk to themselves just like I do. Like, I can't believe it. I was thinking I was schizophrenic. And then, like, oh my goodness, they're blaming everyone else just like me. I thought that I really thought the whole world was against me, but we're all doing it.
Yeah. And it's a survival part of our brain. There's nothing wrong. It's just a program, and it just wants to keep us safe. And having those perceived thoughts and perceived threats are now no longer working for you. Okay, it worked. That was then. This is now. It's time to update and upgrade.
And you can thank your divorce for gifting you the ability to go internally, be a better parent, be a better husband the next time, be a better worker, because that's the outcome of it. It's a gift. Right, Jeff? Are you sure?
He's not sure yet.
I mean, if you become the best you because of this, I know what it feels like in the middle. So I have lots of compassion for you. I was like on my knees all day long, just a mess. But if you can see that, wow, I'm understanding so much about my life, my past, so that I can be better and give a better gift to the world by being alive. That's a divorce is worth it.
And again, divorce is just a program that we say, for someone invented it many moons ago, and we, think divorce is bad. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe it's not even what's another word for divorce? Opportunity to what? to explore,
Improve the next
experience,
one.
and expand for the next one. I'm just
For the
getting
next-
refined. I'm getting
As
better
long
and
as you
better.
change, right? As long as you change, there's a great opportunity for true love, for real connection, for real everything you're hoping for.
Yeah. So you,
Sounds
instead of
right.
saying I'm divorced, say I have opportunities. Yeah. Why not? I have opportunities. Does,
Yeah, a few of them, right?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What does that mean to you, Jeff?
I don't know. I think this is the dad part of me. It is what hurts the most, but
The what part?
the father son issue. Like, I feel like I'm a better dad now because I'm more present and all those things, but also it's not what I wanted for my kids.
That's the worst part for me.
And rewrite that, Jeff, because what is it that you don't want for your kids? So we have a story or a picture that it's bad, it's wrong, it's distorted, it's destructive, it's just divorce. You know what I mean? It's all
They're
the
gonna
D's.
pay for it the rest of their life. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh my goodness, my kids are gonna pay for this the rest of their life. That's
Kids
what I-
adapt. Kids, if we help them redirect what divorce is by opportunity, look at, we get to have experience, because you get, now that you get two parents. Before they probably didn't have two parents, they had something, routines, but now you get to be present. And your children you can rewrite what it is to have this opportunity for them. We have the skills and we have the talent and we have the means nowadays to not to suffer. Divorce doesn't have to be a suffering thing, and kids having two homes doesn't have to be a suffering thing. A lot of good can come out of that.
True. And hopefully your kids, will see a better relationship and choose that path because they'll have a different opportunity for seeing a good relationship.
Yeah, that's a big one for me, is for a healthy relationship. I don't know. I still haven't figured one out yet. Everybody in my family is married forever, but their relationships are the most unhealthy things I've seen. And I'm super aware of it now. The screaming, the yelling, the anger, the ignoring, the whatever. It's just endless.
Yeah.
But nobody's divorced but me. But it's just an opportunity. I look at it as like, one day to show my kids a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Right. And that
And
is
and take them out of that unhealthy relationship.
Well, by you showing them, showing them good conversations, good communications, they'll start seeing that, like, oh, dad and mom talk cordial, and dad talks this way and expresses this way, and then he'll go to the grandparents and other family members, be like, oh, that looks a little chaotic or feels chaotic or whatever it is happening. And you can teach them how to clean it up and clear it out as well,
yes. Yep, because that's the other thing, is like there might be another man in their life and maybe it won't be great. Maybe it will be great, but maybe it won't be. And if it's not, then you get to help them take responsibility for what they're replaying in their head. And to not be drawn into that, because if it's really powerful for them and really painful, then they're going to have some form of that replaying in their relationship in the future. So what is that book? Memories never die. Bad emotions never die. They just come back, or I don't know, something about how, these negative things replay and haunt. And so your kids are going to have a lot of insight into their life because of you making changes for yourself.
Yeah, memories buried alive never die. So buried
Yeah.
alive means you don't express them, you don't show them, you stuff them, you tell them, be quiet, don't talk about it, I don't want to hear it. So we're teaching them to
Even you
bury
forget
it.
about them. I mean, you can forget as like, oh, I didn't even remember that, but you're reacting from it.
Yeah.
A lot of that happens with abuse.
It's unconscious reaction, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So watching patterns and watching your behaviors will help you. Oh, there's something here. What is it?
And Jeff, notice what you're thinking about when your kids aren't with you. Because I really wrecked myself doing this. Like, I was like, oh, they're probably crying and they're probably this. And I was just like a wreck when they'd be gone. Because I was creating images and feelings that weren't even happening. So that's a time to tap and be like, I'm letting go of that they're scared or they're this or they're that. However, I believe that it's going for them. Let it go.
I mean, I know that they're doing just fine. Like I trust her. I know they're doing great. But
Good. That's
I
a
guess it's just
testament.
like not what I don't know, not what I would have thought would have happened for them, but I definitely trust my wife to I'm sure they're fine.
Good.
I'm not worried about them.
Okay. Good job. Well, if there's anything that you think about, like I did, which is, oh, they're going to probably get married and get a divorce or be attracted to a cheater or be this or be, like I had all these things that I would think. Like maybe
Yeah.
I'm the only overthinker in the room, but, but when I would start to project these thoughts into the future, I would make myself feel terrible if I knew then. Interrupt that. You don't need to be thinking a horrible life for them. They don't deserve that, right? That's what I tell myself now. It's like, don't think a horrible life about them. They don't deserve that. And in my head, I can imagine a really beautiful life for them. And I can help them achieve that because I believe it. And I'm not setting up the universe, the air and the the energy to cause them to sense that either.
Yeah, I think for me, because I was the giver, what was hard for me when my kids left, for the weekend with their dad or the holidays, the first holidays without me, is I mean, I felt my world crushing because they're my life, that they're your life for, for however long before you start sending them away. But then I flipped it around. I'm like, oh, here, it's just like, it's another way for them to start detaching with purpose, detaching with love, because look, they were born, they were in the womb, they cut the umbilical cord. Hey, separation. They're in their, in the same bed with you. Okay, separation. Okay, they're in their own room. Okay, separation. Okay, they're going to school. So like, how are we teaching our kids to cope, security? Are they being securely evolving for their own? Yeah. So I looked at it like, oh, here they get to create their own, their own autonomy, their own way, their own thoughts, their own, without having my perspective or my view. So I looked at it as an opportunity for them to, one day they're going to go to high school. One day they're going to move away and go to college. One day they're going to get their own house. I mean, this is just another way of letting that growth occur, which was,
as you think about it, use your imagination to see them happy and fulfilled, right? We can use our imagination to worry and create this negative situation that helps us feel bad, or we can use an imagination to see them fulfilled and happy and loved and joyful, and then we'll feel better just by our own imagination.
yep, very
There's
good.
a song about that.
Well, do you want to close this out, Missy?
Huh?
Do you want to close this out? We've taken a little bit more than normal time for these guys.
All right. Well, we appreciate you all coming and are so grateful for the opportunity to speak into your lives and be part of your journey. And hopefully our journey is raising you up a high tide raises all water, and that it trickles down, right? Trickles into your relationship, trickles into your children, and even your grandchildren.